I've also heard it said that Europe was less interested in the United States. But for heaven's sake, how many times do we have to come over to show that we are interested? What would it mean if we were interested? So, very frankly and very honestly on this, not only is it not an issue, not a problem, but it's great to be able to work under such conditions. I would say that what I have to say about President Obama is the same as what Krishna could say about Hillary Clinton or Christine Lagarde about Tim Geithner. We're constantly having a dialogue. I could even give you an example of something on which we don't necessarily agree, such as Syria, or we didn't agree. France took an initiative, as you know. Well, I'll say this to you. At no point has President Obama turned his back on what we were doing. Constantly, he's watching, he's listening on the subject, even when there are more complex topics, including in our relations with the Russians. Before even we inform our Russian or the Russians or our partners, I pick up the phone, I call President Obama, and he knows exactly what we're going to do and why we're going to do it. You follow me on that? So there may be disagreements, but never for the wrong reasons. And as we are very transparent on both sides, there's confidence, there's trust. And I really think I can say that. There's a lot of trust. Now, trust always helps one overcome perhaps diverging interests. It may be that the United States of America has slightly different interests to those of France, but the bedrock of trust between us is something that he also has with all European leaders. And I don't say this to please you, I say it because it's true. And I took two examples of two topics that could, in other times, have led to head-on collision, and which in this case, on the contrary, I looked at on both sides of the Atlantic as a situation where we are complementary. Perhaps he said, well, maybe on Syria, France is on the right track, and maybe one day we'll have the opportunity to do likewise. And that's exactly the way we work. Go ahead, I'm not the one with the mic. Since you've just talked about the relations between Europe and the United States, didn't you get a bad surprise, a nasty surprise on the Pentagon's decision on the tanker planes, which reversed the decision which had originally been taken in favor of Airbus? Did you raise this subject with President Obama? And if so, did you try and put together a new approach so as to ensure that the competition would be fairer?
New version of this contract with the Pentagon, and don't you think that it would be probably fair to share this contract with the Europeans, since they are now full members of NATO, and that they share the price of the war on the ground?
Enfin, si je vous disais que j'en ai pas parlé.
If I said I hadn't raised it, it would mean that what I've just told you would be meaningless and senseless. Of course, we've talked about it. And President Obama will give you his answer. But I said to him, I trust you. And I do trust him. If you say to me that the request for proposals, the call for tenders will be free, fair, and transparent, then we say EADS will bid, and we trust you.
What I said to President Sarkozy is that the process will be free and fair, and that the trust is justified. Now, it's important for my European friends to understand that, at least here, the Secretary of Defense makes procurement decisions. The President does not meddle in these decisions, and that's a long-standing policy. So I maintain an arm's length approach, but I have assurances from Secretary of Defense Gates that, in fact, the rebidding process is going to be completely transparent, completely open, and a fair competition. That's in our interests. It's in the interests of American taxpayers, and it's also in the interests of our young men and women who rely on this equipment in order to protect this nation. And it's important to note, I think, for those of you who don't know Secretary Gates, this is somebody who has actually taken on the military and weapons systems establishment and initiated some very significant procurement reforms that nobody ever thought would happen here in Washington. So he's somebody who's willing to call it like it is and make difficult decisions, and he will do so in this situation as well. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody.